Welcome back. As China and the US continue to work through their trade dispute, Beijing has been moving aggressively on other fronts, including trade deals with other regions and President Xi Jinping's ambitious Belt and Road project, which involves major infrastructure projects to facilitate trade between China and the rest of Asia. Right, let's bring in Kok Keong now, CEO at Global eTrade Services, which is a provider of global trade facilitation solutions. KK, very good morning. Good to see you, sir.
Good morning.
First of all, just give us your sense on how supply chains, which have been very stressed by the trade war, are holding up in this part of the world. Give us an idea of the evolving dynamic and what technology and the blockchain can do to facilitate the movement of trade.
Thank you for having me on the show. That's the first thing to say, but there are quite many questions in what you just asked. So can I sort of take them in parts?
Sure.
Number one, I think that really if we look at it as a whole, ASEAN as a grouping is still going to continue to thrive. As a grouping, we are more than 600 million strong. We have rich natural resources, and intra-ASEAN trade is vibrant and is growing. More importantly, if you look at how we play in the global scene, ASEAN is quite well plugged into the global economy. It means that despite US and China tension, ASEAN's trade relations and economic relations with these two countries respectively are actually remaining very good and positive. Right? If you look at the data, this year, I think by this year, Singapore has already overtaken US as China's second largest trading nation or partner, and China has been ASEAN's #1 trading partner for 9 consecutive years. FDI-wise, Chinese investments into ASEAN is significant and has doubled.
KK, can I just challenge you on that with a view on Singapore? Because earlier this week we saw Singapore September exports contracting. 7th straight month of contraction.
That's right.
It's looking very, very stressed. We're very cyclical, very, very trade dependent. When does that start to turn around?
I think this is a trend that will definitely have to turn around, especially as economies as Singapore continue to be integrating itself more and more with the regional countries in ASEAN, tapping into our hinterland market, at the same time continuing to build strong economic relations with these two major economic powers. This is an evolution. I mean, it's an adjustment that the market is going through, but I think we have been very adaptable as an economy, as a country, and will continue to be strong going forward.
Okay, but one problem I have is when we talk about winners from the US-China trade fight, Vietnam comes up frequently, but we do talk about others. Philippines, Indonesia, you name it, Thailand. The problem is, if the trade fight doesn't abate, we continue to see growth slow in both of these economies as a result, there are going to be very few winners, aren't there?
I guess there is no crystal ball to really look into, to really define what will be some of the key indicators going forward. Nonetheless, if you look at the broader picture, as what I've earlier highlighted, ASEAN really is a thriving nation with a 600 million or more population base, with all these resources that we have, and a very positive intra-ASEAN trade and economic relations going. We can actually sustain to a large extent some of these headwinds. That's my personal belief. At the same time, it will come to a point where both economies have to settle one way or another.
Are you seeing it in the business activity, though? Are you seeing a slowdown? Are you seeing a change in the positioning in terms of these supply chains?
I can't speak too broadly about the business scenario per se, but if I look at the businesses that we are engaged with, we see actually quite positive signs. Number one, our business is not really abating in any way. That's number one. Number two, when we look at our partners, our business partners, be it the technology partners or our customers who are using our platform, generally there is this hype in wanting or this almost catalyst to want to do more, to want to explore, to want to diversify, and I think all these are very good signs.
KK, we have seen increased cooperation. We've seen a lot of momentum on the whole dynamic of AEC, ASEAN economic cooperation, and that narrative. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but do you think at some point in the future we will see an ASEAN single market?
One can never say never. Things may happen, just like the EU, it did happen. But I think when it comes to ASEAN, even when it comes to any form of integration across economies, I think there will be different levels of integration that are possible. It could be something very deep, as given what we have witnessed in EU. It could be something that is a lot more, perhaps, defined or restrictive to a certain level of activities, perhaps more economic integration rather than other forms of integration.
Okay, great to have you with us. We'll have to bring you back another time to hear more about what you're doing with blockchain and these processes. Thank you so much for joining us. That is Kok Keong from Global eTrade Services.
Coming up, the world's